And we're on to item number 10, which is the Auckland Citizens Bureau Incorporated funding for 2016-2018. And we first of all have presentation from the Mangere Otahu Local Board, and Carol Elliott's going to lead that. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you very much. Thank you for letting us come and speak to this. The report, which we'll take as read, that recommends approving the 2016-18 funding to the Auckland Citizens Advice Bureau Incorporated before the current funding and the strategic relationship agreement is renewed and a new one developed. Our local board is very supportive of our local bureaus and would appreciate an understanding of how the current funding and the strategic relationship agreement with ACABS is performing. We would also like to know how we can be involved in developing the new funding and strategic relationship agreement. Our board has always been unconvinced about the one-size-fits-all in the approach to the ACAB Council funding and relationship agreement because of the vast dissimilarity in the way the different bureaus were funded under the old historic Manukau City Council, Auckland Council, Waitakere. We don't believe that local boards, any local board, are really well versed in what is the council's current funding and relationship with ACABS. Local boards don't tend to receive any information from ACABS at all in reporting about what is going on, even though we have very good relationships with our local bureau. So which part of the council is responsible for the analysis and quality of advice to local boards? Who do we go to for this? Local boards do not even have a clear idea on the criteria and process for developing a new bureau as Auckland grows. Our experience in Otahu was when we wanted for our ward to have another bureau in Otahu, a very big township which did not have one, was unhelpful to say the least, and our board actually funded the establishment of what we call a suitcase bureau in the new recreation centre at Otahu. We had to initiate the work. It was just a couple of the local volunteers and local board members who initiated this to get this underway, and there is now, as I say, it's called a suitcase. Right, but ACABS has not come to the aid of the party about establishing one, where we need it, how to do it. So this is something that we feel is a deficiency. We had to initiate the work to identify the need and feasibility and even fund establishment of the new service. And why does not the funding and relationship agreement cover this? Because with the expansion, for example, in the south, you go out to Flatbush and places like that, you're going to need the more bureau, the more population you have, the more you have. We are the busiest bureau for visitors in the country, in Mangere. The report says that we are, as that is the boards, a primary stakeholder in our local CAB, but we do feel we should be, but we would question if that is the current reality. We want to participate, please, in developing the new funding and strategic relationship agreement, and we ask that this committee looks at having that done before the funding is approved. And we feel that in this way we could look for more accountability of ACABS to the council for the funding that they receive. Thank you.
Thank you. So any questions of Councillor Filipina?
Just want to acknowledge the board, and my question is around, do you know what the position is for the Otara Papatoetoe one with the local board, with the Citizens Advice Bureaus, namely in Papatoetoe and Otara, whether their position is the same as the local boards one in Mangere or Tahuhu?
No, Councillor, I cannot answer that.
Maybe I can answer that later when we debate it.
Just in relation to Citizens Advice Bureaus, as you said at the start of your presentation, there was different arrangements in the legacy councils. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you're saying now that there needs to be some rationalisation in the arrangement for these organisations across the Auckland region.
Well, the proposal is for the bulk funding, and ACABs will dish it out.
Yeah.
The problem was the old Manukau City Council, for example, used to pay the managers of the bureaus, the paid managers, and the other ones didn't. And when it came under ACABs, it would have meant a pay cut, and cut in hours and a cut in hourly rate of the managers of the old Manukau City Council properties. And a couple of them, this is where Papataui and Mangere come into this, did not want to go in for that form of funding and have a different arrangement with ACABs. They wanted to be more independent and hire their own manager and all this sort of business. So it's a bit of a mess at the moment, Councillor, and we would love to be able to participate as a local board, along with the other local boards, in developing a complementary and collegial agreement.
Thank you. Councillor Casey, with a question.
It was just to say that CAB used to report regularly to my committee, but because of the negotiations over the contract, they haven't been for quite a while. But I moved to possibly move a B, with your permission, Mr. Chairman, seeking information from the CABX regarding consultation with the 21 local boards, because I'm not at all clear.
There's none.
So
Not from sitting. We have a consultation with our local CAB officers, but not ACABs.
So I'll see what the chair thinks of that.
And that, Councillor, is why we're talking about accountability.
It would have to be directed to at ACE. What is it?
I'll take your guidance, but I think we should have a B that
Yeah, I agree with that. That's
hearing
all
what you say.
To incorporate the issues that have been
raised by the Mangere
by the
Otahu local
Mangere
board
Otahu
regarding
local board.
consultation with the 21 local boards.
That may be something that well, whether it probably can't happen. It's going to be difficult.
They could report back to my committee on it.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
not.
really-
See, well, you're saying before the end of the year, or
Oh yeah.
before the end of this financial year.
And you'll have some staff talking shortly.
Yeah, okay. Well, we can flesh that out when the staff. Councillor Casey, we'll hear from the staff, and we can finalise the wording once we hear from our staff. How's that? Okay. Okay. Well, with that, Councillor Wayne Walker, you've got a question.
Well, it was just really further to the matter that Councillor Casey has raised, because clearly we need to take an interest in the Citizens Advice Bureau and develop some strategy around the bigger picture. And I'm assuming that report will be going to Councillor Casey's committee.
So maybe we'll talk to the officers. So, are there any other questions? I'll move that we thank Carol.
Second.
Thank you.
Lydia and Nick, is it? Nick, for their presentation. Thank you very much. Seconded by Councillor Filipino. I'll put that. Those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you very much for that presentation, and we'll wait for your next item. The next item. So we'll do that when we come around to that item. Thanks very much. So we'll now ask the officers to come forward. It's Christine Olsen, who's the Manager of Community Empowerment, and Abigail Vote.
Where's Carol?
Christine.
Carol, is it?
Carol.
Yeah, hello, Carol. So, well, thank you very much. We're in your hands. But you heard the issues raised by the Mangere Otahu local board, and Councillor Casey would like to get something done, something on paper there as a B to the resolution, so we can look at that as post haste, obviously, if it's going to be for the next year. So, yeah, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'll take the report as read, and just to summarise, there has been a current strategic relationship agreement and funding agreement with the Auckland CAB Incorporated, which is the umbrella organisation over the umbrellas all the local bureau. So we're in the process of renegotiating that because it expires at the end of June, and so this report is seeking approval for the funding, which was agreed in the long-term plan. Just if I could pick up on some of the points that were raised, our relationship is with the Auckland CAB Incorporated. They encourage local bureau to have a strong relationship with their local boards. So I think what we can do is work through them to possibly get local bureau to encourage a stronger relationship with them and local boards.
Yeah, but the issue that's been raised by the board, and it's kind of equity and fairness, isn't it? Something it is the real kernel of the issue. So, is that something that you can negotiate or talk to them about?
Certainly. So, I mean, they determine their funding process. But we have been working with them as part of the current relationship agreement on looking at a more, their current model is population-based, and we have been working with them to encourage them to look at a deprivation, take deprivation into account in that as well.
Okay, so if we just add to that, raised by the board to achieve greater equity and fairness, taking into consideration environmental issues in the local communities. How's that?
Environmental.
Is that all right, Councillor Cash? Is that kind of
Environmental come into it. It's probably not.
It's about deprivation, and therefore it's kind of social issues rather than environmental issues.
social issues. Sorry, issues in the local community. How's that?
And just what I heard the local board say was that they do have a good relationship with their local people. So it's not about that. It's about the strategic direction of CAB and being involved in that discussion with them.
Making sure that there is good coverage across Auckland with the, I mean, that 1 point, whatever it is not, it's 1.796 million across the, that's on an annual basis, so obviously it has to be spread out pretty thinly when it gets to the extremities. So with that, are there any other questions? Sorry, Councillor Fulapine.
Thank you, Chair. I've been making this an issue since 2012 and also 2013 and also through Kathy's committee. I've been always asking for ACABs to report back to her committee around the issues. So, I mean, just to the officers, I mean, currently what's in place is that the funding is population-based, my understanding, by talking to some of the other CABs, which is a good thing. From some of the ones in South Auckland that I've spoken to. The issue, Chair, is one again from the old legacy, as Carol pointed out, the funding of the managers. They have to now look within the budgets that they have. I think, and I need to put that to the staff in regards to B, is to have a look and to see what the feedback is from the other Citizens Advice Bureaus in regards to how the relationship is with ACABs. Because in some of the Citizens Advice Bureaus that I've spoken to, it's that relationship which is the one that is not really, in some of them it's not actually there. So that needs to come back. If there are any issues, that needs to be identified, and then hopefully getting solutions around that. So for me, 2012, 2013, there was a question that I asked whether the relationship with ACAB should continue. And that was the beginning of this term. But as pointed out in the agenda through you, Chair, they're now renegotiating a contract with ACABs through to possibly 2018. So I confirm and endorse what the Māngere or Tāhuhu Local Board have said, but also want to reiterate that the Otara Papatoetoe Local Board also share the same concerns.